You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boyz, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And tonight we're pumped, man. Super special guest with us, wide receiver Nolan from the Ohio State. Best team in the nation, man. You already know what it is on this channel. Nolan, how you doing tonight, man?
Good. How are you guys? Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
Good, man. Hold up. You messed up, though, on the intro. That's Zone 6 member, Nolan. We got to get that straight. Zone 6 in the building.
I was going to let him
correct my boy on that.
Yeah. I was going to let him explain that one, but I did. I might have messed up a little bit. But chat, we appreciate you guys being here, man. Do us a favor. Hit that like button. Helps us out. Hit that subscribe button. The super chats are up and running as well. Those go to the causes that you guys have heard about on this channel several times. But, man, I'm going to dive into it, man. Exciting show. Going to talk to Nolan about why he got into football, man, what brought him to Ohio State, and then kind of dive into, last year's run. What was that like for him being on that team and the expectations for this upcoming season? But let's dive right into it, man. Nolan, so obviously you are a wide receiver for the best wide receiving core in the nation. And you can probably add that on some NFL teams as well. But we'll just stick with that for now. So, but you had to start somewhere, man. Explain to us, tell us about that moment, man. How young were you when you started playing football, and dive into that story a little bit for us.
Yeah, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Big family, my dad loved football. So naturally, ended up playing football at, 4 or 5, flag football. Me and my buddies at a local park, just getting after it really. And I just loved how electric it was. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball, I swam, I tried a bunch of different things. And football was always what stuck with me. Just, the nature of the game, the violence of the game. I just loved it. Whether it be action-packed plays, all the above. So yeah, I grew up playing flag football 4 to 5. Went to a local Catholic grammar school on the south side, St. Barnabas. And then started playing tackle when I was in 4th grade. Started off playing quarterback. 5th grade, I moved to receiver because our 6th grade quarterback was unbelievable. He actually was the starting quarterback at Northwestern last year. And then 6th grade took over as the quarterback. 7th grade played receiver. 8th grade played quarterback again. So just kind of on rotation a little bit, depending on how good the quarterback was. So played then, absolutely loved it. Once I got to 8th grade, thought I felt like I had a pretty good season. Ended up being okay, I think I want to end up playing college football. I don't really know though. Just I was a good baseball player too, so I was like, maybe I want to pursue baseball. And then got to freshman year at Marist High School, where I played corner, played safety, played receiver, played quarterback, played a million different positions. Just trying to figure out what stuck, and then eventually sophomore year receiver ended up sticking. And just fell in love with it. Got connected with Coach Hartline through Carnell Tate, who was my best friend since freshman year of high school. And then just kept working from then. Stayed on pace with him. Stayed connected. Worked out a bunch for the Buckeyes. Went to about 5 different camps. Put some good highlight tape together, and the rest is history. Here I am.
Absolutely. That's incredible. I was just going to ask you, but you already answered. I was going to say, growing up in the South Side, did you know Carnell? But you already answered it, obviously. But growing up in the South Side, you have to be a tough kid growing up in that area. So it's not a wonder that you would have picked football to stick with. But my question to you, playing so many different positions, do you feel like playing DB helped you in terms of your wide receiver skill set? And what did you prefer ultimately at the time when you were doing it, and why?
Yeah. I mean, DB definitely helped me play receiver. I mean, not even a doubt. I learned all the coverages that way. I learned cover 2, cover 4, cover 3, man, different techniques that they were teaching on the other side of the ball. So my sophomore year, I played both ways. I played corner and safety, and I also played receiver. So I would use that to my advantage. When we were playing in our football games, like I'm thinking what the corner would be, what our coaches would be teaching the corner to do, and I would just use that against them. And ended up playing well my sophomore year. Probably the best year I had because I was playing both ways. Overall, I always wanted to play quarterback, though. I mean, I was I love playing quarterback. My favorite player ever is Johnny Manziel, and I'll take that to the grave. Like that'll forever be my favorite player. But it was kind of best for the team that I play receiver. Our quarterback was really good in high school, both the year above me and my age. Like everybody was good, so it was probably just for the best that I go play receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess you're probably a pretty competitive kid, because to decide to walk on as a wide receiver to the Ohio State in an absolutely crowded room. I mean, even going through drills and stuff. I mean, you're doing them beside, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. So just an absolutely loaded room. So speak to us what it's like doing that, man, as a wide receiver. What is it like going and training with guys like that every day? And how does that help you with your game?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like elite from top to bottom. That's the only thing you could say about it. My freshman year I got in, I thought I kind of knew what I was doing. And I didn't. So, that was kind of a, well, let's take a step back moment. Let's soak it in, sit in the process, learn from other people. I loved watching Marvin and Emeka work. Those are probably two of the best route runners that I've seen, and I think will end up being two of the best route runners in the NFL in years to come. They pushed me every day, and they were hard on me too. I mean, like if I mess up in a drill, they're sending me back, like coach me up on how to do it. And I got a hell of a lot better from freshman year to sophomore year to junior year than I ever was before that. And it's just the competitive nature of it. Like whether it be for fun or not, like I'm always talking crap to whether it be JJ or Carnell or Brandon or Bryson, like talking crap to them, trying to get against them in drills or indie drills, and talk a whole bunch of crap while I'm doing it. And it's just the competitive nature of it. But once you're on the other side of it, once you take a break and maybe I go home and train with some of my buddies from high school back in Chicago, like I notice a major difference, that I got a ton better. So you don't really see the fruits of it while you're there because you're always in it. Once you take a little bit of a step back, you can totally see.
Yeah,
absolutely. So coming to the Ohio State, what was the biggest adjustment for you in terms of just college, whether not just football, but also in terms of the school aspect and balancing both? So what would you say was the hardest adjustment for you?
Yeah, I think the hardest adjustment for me was probably the weight room. I was always I always lifted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the expectation is a lot different here and the standards a lot higher. So I had to adjust really quick. I was dealing with some injuries coming in. I had like a hamstring, and I had previously hurt my ankle pretty bad, like at the end of my senior year, which wasn't great timing. And then ended up hurting my back in my freshman year. So it was just kind of setback after setback. So it took me a little bit to settle in. But, buying into the culture really helps with that, and recognizing the fact that these guys want the best from you, and they're not just yelling and pushing you just to be, an ass. They're doing it because they love you and they want to see you get better and maximize your potential. So, that was a huge adjustment for me. But, once you get adjusted to that and once you really buy in, it's pretty seamless. I mean, you go through it every single day, and definitely tough at first, but, once you get the hang of it, you start to fall in love with it.
And do you think it's tough for everyone, especially we see a lot of early enrollees now with kids coming out of high school? Do you see that adjustment being tough for even those guys?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the standard is so high that you don't really even realize it until you get there. Like I said, Coach Mick Marotti is, the best at what he does, and he's going to get everything out of you that he can. And he's going to push the hell out of you. So, it's hard to recognize that at first, especially coming in as an 18-year-old kid fresh out of high school. It's a quick switch, quick turnover. And the weight room is, kind of where you earn your stripes, whether it be with the coaching staff or amongst your peers mostly. It's huge to be an asset in the weight room and be able to compete and hold your own. So, it's tough. I think the transition's hard for everyone, but it's the mindset that ends up getting you through. Like, it just kind of boils down to what your mindset is, how you were raised, if you were raised as a tough kid or, that'll come out eventually, the character shows.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that transition, just that transition, and let's just use like I want to say normal kid, right? But the kid that's maybe just transitioning into college, like no football added into it. It's a tough transition, man. So sorry I had to walk away for a minute, man. I ordered some food. My brother set it outside my door and I could hear the bag crinkling. And I'm like, dude,
Cujo came back.
Who's getting into my food? I open the door. It's my brother's little chihuahua, man, digging through my food, bro. So, sorry, I apologize. I had to explain why I left the camera for a minute, but yeah, man, really good stuff so far. It's really cool to get the insight, right, of somebody that's been on the path that you've been on. I kind of want to dive into more specifically Ohio State side of it here, and I want to ask you about something we kind of talked about a little bit off screen, but as a fan, right, Buckeyes #1 in my book all the way around. But the thing that I love the most personally is like the brotherhood and the culture aspect of the program that we hear about all the time. And for instance, Jesus saved my life 6 years ago. So it's a big part of my life is faith. It's the #1 part of my life. So hearing about the baptisms on campus and hearing players bring up Jesus and stuff in their interviews, it's really cool to hear. But a lot of times, man, some of these outside fans like just want to think that we're just making this stuff up, or we got scarlet colored glasses on and can't see like the truth or something. So you're in it every single day. You are part of it. You are this culture and this brotherhood that we're talking about. So tell us, man, about that a little bit. Is this a real thing? Is it really quite frankly, like cool as it sounds and amazing, the brotherhood and culture at Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. It's been amazing since the day that I got there. Everybody's so tight knit and authentic people. And we recruit elite people, and they develop into even better people. As time goes on. Everybody's amazing. It's, I was saying earlier, it's literally like a high school locker room. Everybody loves each other. Can mess around with each other. Everybody hangs out. Everybody gets along pretty well. Nothing about it is fake, I would say. I mean, and if it was fake, it would come out eventually, and so far it hasn't. So, I love where I'm at. I think everybody can speak to that as, they love it. They wouldn't trade it for the world, wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and this is the best place in the world so far.
Amen.
Absolutely. So, I've been hearing a lot about how this off season has been the hardest one thus far in the past few years. Can you speak to that? Is there any truth to that in terms of like comparing this off season to last off season? Are they pushing you guys harder? Are you guys putting out more and working harder? Can you see a difference?
There's times when you can see a difference, and there's times where I think it's just kind of recency bias, and then you kind of look back on what we did last year and you're like, oh yeah, that was not fun. I think it goes both ways. Like, I think there's been a lot of workouts this year that are similar to last year. They're all tough. Like, there's not we joke around, like, there's not a singular day where you're like, oh, let's go, it's gonna be an easy day. Like, no, like, you're grinding every single second of the day. I can't say that it's harder than last year. I can't say that it's any easier than last year. I think a lot of people saying that it's harder, I would say it's just recency bias. But it's hard as hell nonetheless. We get after it every single day. I would say every offseason for the past 3 years has been similar for me. I think this year has been a lot more player driven though. Like the past 2 years, I would say, we're trying to develop leaders, and a lot of guys are starting to step up, which is a good sign. Holding each other accountable, being disciplined, all the good things. Just kind of getting after it, and guys are holding each other accountable, which is great. And seeing it to be player driven is a good sign for the upcoming season.
So you don't mind me asking, it's hard to keep track, man. You're going on, how many years have you been with the program? This is
This will be my third year.
Your third year. Okay. So last year, man, obviously national champ. Me and Mello went to one of the playoff games. I went
Rose
to
Bowl.
all of them. Yeah, we went to the Rose Bowl. I went to watch the Texas game, Notre Dame game as well. It was an amazing time as a fan. I mean, just probably some of the best times I ever had in my life, right? But players' perspective, man, give it to us. What was that like? A lot of ups and downs on that team last year. I'm not going to remind you of the down part. You know what those were. But just kind of, man, walk us through that, dude, from your perspective, and explain to us, man, what held you guys together? What got you to be national champs?
Yeah. I mean, it was an absolute whirlwind. Obviously losing to the team up north was an absolute gut punch. Like, some of that, I don't think anybody in the country saw coming. And that was tough. And as a lot of people have said before, that moment can either, make you or break you. And, that player-led meeting was amazing. And, it went really well. And I think everybody walked out of that meeting, pretty confident that we were going to go win the national championship. But we still had to go do it. We worked super hard every day in practice, had a million meetings, hours of practice, reviewing reps, weight room hours. We're still there every single day, going up to the Tennessee game. And then, we went into it pretty confident, but, you just never know. It's football. There's a lot of things that you can't control, but, we said, and Coach Day always said, we're in control. So I think we just went into that game and obviously took it over and, beat them. And I think after that, after the Tennessee game, I was looking around, like, feeling the vibes in the locker room, talking to a few guys, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna win it all. Like, there's no stopping this team. It's unbelievable. So obviously then work hard for another 9-10 days, grind for Oregon, and I think that bad taste in our mouth from the previous Oregon game was enough to just carry us through. But obviously still had to go do it, and we went and did it again. Which was amazing. The Rose Bowl was a surreal feeling. Like, it was just weird being there. You always see it on TV, and you kind of walk on the grass and you're feeling the grass. You're like, okay, this is pretty insane. Then you're looking around, and the stadium's not as big as you think it is, but, like, it's still super loud. So it's, like, kind of confusing when you're on the field. Like, you're like, it shouldn't be this loud, but it is. That whole experience was unbelievable. And then getting back to the Cotton Bowl against Texas, we knew that was probably going to be our toughest matchup, just from a offensive standpoint and how they were going to play our defense. They'd already seen what we were doing for 2 games. They had the Thorpe Award winner and Jahdae Barron. They had a good secondary and a great front seven. So we knew that was going to be a handful for us. But the confidence really never strayed. We were always, locked and loaded. We were ready to go whenever the name was called. And we went and did that again. That whole game was unbelievable. And the feeling after that, I remember watching the Notre Dame and Penn State game the night before that, in my room with a few of my roommates. And, we watched Notre Dame win that game. We all, like, looked at each other and we were like, we're going to beat them in Atlanta next week. And then, played the game the next day. That game was unbelievable. Obviously, Jack Sawyer took it over. But there's a lot of unsung heroes from that game. You could go on for forever. But, that game was unbelievable, and then just came together. And I think the next week we were just kind of ready to finish the job together. We'd already been through so much. We've been together since, I don't know, the previous January. So that's basically, we've been together for almost a year at that point. We're going through, we're ready, practicing, we're staying confident, but we're all, like, level-headed, even-keeled. The Notre Dame game, I mean, we were even-keeled the whole time. The whole week we were there. I mean, confidence never strayed, sitting there with our families, even keeled, going through. And then that game was obviously just unbelievable. I mean, we got off to a hot start. Defense closed it out. Offense closed it out. And I remember just, like, once the clock hit 0, confetti drops, I just, like, kind of, like, started crying. I'm like, holy crap. Like, we just did everything we said we were going to do from the prior year.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty unheard of, and it was also emotional for me. I had a lot of family there and stuff like that, and they'd helped me through so much and helped me get to that point to achieve a dream. that, I couldn't help but look up at them and not take it for granted, and let the moment sink in, and then, get back to the locker room, just celebrating with all the guys. But at the same time, it's kind of bittersweet because, I was close with all 17 guys that went to the NFL. So it was kind of like looking around like, damn, like this is kind of the last time I'll be with either Trey or Josh Fry or Donnie or Will and all these guys. And, so that was tough. But then, the week after was pretty fun celebrating. So,
yeah, you brought up that confetti. I went to get my wallet because I had a couple pieces stuck in my wallet too, but I got them, and I'm making a Buckeye room. I just bought a new house moving in, so I'm making a Buckeye room. And
That's
literally,
awesome.
dude, I have a little glass frame, 2 of them, and there's 1 piece of confetti in each glass.
That's awesome.
So that's going on my wall.
Yeah, I still have confetti from the Rose Bowl, and you're bringing up the Rose Bowl. I mean, the scenery there was beautiful.
That was a beautiful day too.
The interesting thing was when we were going in, it's all the Buckeye fans, all the Duck fans going through one thing, and you're trying to talk trash to them, but there's like, out there, I guess they're super laid back. So it was like, it wasn't even fun talking trash to them. It was like, I can't talk trash. The people are too nice. But the best part for me was the fact that that whole side that was green was so quiet the whole game.
My favorite part was watching them start to funnel out in the third quarter. I'm like, this is awesome.
People didn't believe that. I'm telling you, they were leaving in the third quarter.
Oh my God, the fans were so sad. It was awesome.
It was
34-0. I was at the first Oregon game as well. So I got a couple earfuls after that game. So it was nice to be at the Rose Bowl for sure. Bro, I wanted to ask you, man, what was the most intense game, the loudest atmosphere you played in? Because that first Oregon game that I was at, now the playoffs, whole different ball game, dude. That Cotton Bowl was, I mean, my goodness, that was really loud. But that first Rose Bowl, Autzen Stadium, it just felt like it was so loud. Was it loud to you? Did it sound loud?
Yeah, I mean, that was deafening, but I would put the Cotton Bowl up there. I mean, those Texas fans were unbelievable. I mean, like any even neutral play that Texas had, like it could have been a tackle for a gain of 1 on like first down, and the crowd is roaring. I'm like, oh my gosh, like crazy, and they filled the whole stadium. But I think all the atmospheres are pretty unbelievable. I mean, that Tennessee, I would put the Tennessee game up there. I would say that's the most exciting game I've ever played in. But I think
what were you thinking when you saw them walk out without their shirts on?
I just thought it was hilarious, and I don't even know if I should be. I was like, it's kind of a bad look on their like strength staff. I mean, the dudes weren't really that built. I was like, I'm like kind of looking around. I'm like, they don't look like our linemen look. Like our O-line is. I mean, you saw Ty Hamilton. Like that dude is shredded. Like our whole O-line is jacked. So I'm like kind of looking around like, I don't know if that's a good look for you guys. But it was funny, and I liked Tennessee, funny enough, in high school. Like I always like kind of was a fan of their program. So I was just excited to play them. Like they were a really good team, and I always kind of liked the way that they played for some reason. And then going into the game, obviously it was just an absolute bloodbath, but
Bro,
like I have a ton of respect for them. I mean, their fans are crazy. I have a bunch of buddies that go to Tennessee, and they were just like a bunch of them were at the game. Funny enough, I was like, yeah, damn, sorry, but like all good dudes, and the fan base in Knoxville is like, other than what I was seeing on Twitter the week of the game, like I always had some good respect for them. So
yeah, for sure, man. Well, dude, new chapter now. We've heard a couple players talk about you guys, this year's team, taking down that national champion stuff, turning a new page. The mindset of you guys haven't done anything, right? You need to go out and get it this year. So talk to us, man. What's one of the biggest differences that you can see so far from last year's team to this year's team, in the sense of something for us to be excited about? Like, we know a lot of new leadership coming in, stuff like that. What's something you're recognizing from a player perspective that's becoming the biggest difference you can see?
Yeah, I think it's probably just the depth of leaders that we have. Last year we kind of had like a core 12. This year, I think top to bottom, there's dudes that can lead in every single room. Whether they're deemed a leader by the strength staff on the leadership committee, whether they wear the C or as a captain. You know, I consider myself a leader, and you know, I'm able to lead other people. So I think just top to bottom, we've got good leaders. I'd also say there's a lot of similarities with last year's team. Like the top of the top leaders, they were elite leaders, and you know, we have that this year too. So, you know, I think it'll be a really interesting season just to see where we match up with last year. But you know, I think we have an outstanding team, and I think we can make another push for it.
Real fast, Mello. Speaking of you being a leader, I read on a message board that some type of, maybe it was a team poll or something and teammates were asked like, who do they hang out with the most or something, and you were the number one answer, like for the majority of the team. So, you know, you're definitely a leader, man. If the rest of the team and you're the number one answer of, hey, who do I like? I forget what the exact question was. Maybe you know it, but
it was we were going through our exit meetings at spring ball last year with Coach Mick Marotti, and he asked every single player like who they hang out with, who they like to hang out with, and that's the only thing I knew. So I'm sitting in my meeting, I'm like listing off all the boys. I list like 25 different people. He's like, okay, I get it. I'm like, all right, sorry. You know, I walk out of the meeting, don't hear anything of it. We go to the champions meeting just to see like the champions meeting is who graded well throughout the spring. And you know, he like kind of stops me. He's like, Baudo, where are you at? I'm like, oh shit. I'm like in the back. I'm like, right here. He's like 50% of the team said they hang out with Baudo. You know, that's great leadership, great team chemistry, all this stuff. So I'm like just laughing, like, damn, like 50%.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't realize it until like you kind of like look back and count. You're like, yeah, it was 50%. I mean, I could like list a million different times that you know I was hanging out with everybody. So
yeah,
you know, it's a good thing.
So you got fall camp coming up.
Yep,
so can you give a little insight to Buckeye Nation? What is what you're expected of at fall camp? What a normal day would look like, and how difficult it is, how taxing it is on you guys?
Yeah, it's so tiring. You know, we wake up at I think like 5:45, 6 a.m. Go right to the Woody. We stay in a hotel. Go right to the Woody. Eat breakfast. Get hydrated. Do some treatments if need be. Weigh in. Hydrate tests. Then we go to a kicking meeting. Then we go to 2 offensive meetings. Now sometimes we go to a walkthrough, and then we'll go out to practice. We'll have recovery after practice. We'll have about an hour and a half break for lunch and stuff like that. A lot of guys will nap during that time. And then right out of the nap, we'll go to a special teams meeting. Then we'll lift. Then we'll go back to a meeting. Then we'll go to a walkthrough, a meeting, a walkthrough, a meeting, a walkthrough. And then that'll get us to usually like 9:30 p.m. And then by then, everybody's so beat, we just go back to the hotel and go right to bed, and then wake up and do it every single day for the following 2 weeks.
So that lasts for 2 weeks. By the way, Mello, dude, I'm glad you asked that question. I did realize how interesting of a question that was to you. You started answering it because we really don't know the step-by-step thing. But dude, that is a packed schedule. Now that's 2 weeks straight, you say?
Yeah, it's like a little over 2 weeks. Like we'll usually go. I think I looked at the date this year. I think the last day is August 16th. So we'll go from like July 31st to August 16th.
Would you say that's probably the most mentally taxing time of the season? Because is that the time when you guys are trying to get all this new scheme stuff or whatever stuff it is happening? That's the playbook side of the season.
That's when we're absolutely like we're installing everything. So like basically the entire offense will be in before then. Before that's over at least, and you know, just our bodies are worn down. Like, you know, you'll be in a meeting just like trying your hardest not to fall asleep. Like even it could be an interesting meeting. It's not a shame on the meetings part, but you know, like you'll be sitting in a meeting just like dozing off, and you know, it's impossible to stay awake sometimes. But yeah, it's definitely mentally challenging, I would say. It's obviously super physically taxing, and guys are tired, but the mental side of it is pretty tough too.
So just a suggestion. I don't know if anyone told you this yet, but I was in the military. So like we had crazy training during wartime infantry. If you're about to fall asleep, stand up. If they let you stand up.
I know. I was thinking about doing that. Yeah.
But then you're too tired to stand up, though. Like,
No,
I fell asleep
I
standing up one time in basic training during PT, during exercises. I'm not even lying. I didn't even know until they called me out and everybody was laughing at me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's good. Dude, that's wild, man. Dude, there's so many, Nolan, there's so many things, man, as a fan so we started this channel. It hasn't even been a year yet, right? So like I used to be your everyday crazy fan. And now doing this show and interviewing recruits and players like yourself and talking to coaches and all this other thing, dude, the insight that gathered, dude, as a fan, you really don't think of all that stuff, man, that goes into it, right? And I'm a little bit slower with my role on judging like kids for on-field performance or something like that. I don't come out now because knowing like what goes in behind the scene, that like players are real people too. Like I got a life, Bella's got a life. We go through stuff. You guys have that, and then some, had it on top of it. So, dude, I appreciate that insight there, man. I think it's insight that it's healthy for a lot of fans to understand, the process of it. So appreciate you sharing that, bro.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's see. What did
I got a question.
Yeah.
So you guys got Texas first game of the season.
I was literally about to ask that.
Oh, go ahead. You ask it.
No. Go. Do your thing, bro.
You guys got Texas first game of the season. What's your thoughts on the upcoming game? How do you guys think? Are you guys ready? Do you think you guys are going to handle business? And pretty much that. Can you speak to that first game and what you guys have to do mentally and physically to go out there and give them another L like the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. It's a tough challenge, for anybody having a top 5 matchup the first game of the year. We're going to prepare like we did the past couple years. No matter who we play the first game, we're looking to go out there and peak form as good as we can. We're going to prepare every day for the next 36, 37 days, whatever it is, until we play Texas. And we're going to prepare as hard as we can, just go into that game with a good game plan, good head on our shoulders, and, just go in ready to fight for what we got and just keep it rolling. I think we'll be ready.
Yeah. Well, Nolan, it's been about 32 minutes now. So we appreciate your time, man. I could ask you questions all day. I'm not officially done yet. I do have one more question for you. The chat's wanted me to ask it several times. So this is my last question. Let Mello, anything final he's got, get you out of here, man. Speak on what it's like being coached by Brian Hartline and your thoughts on the transition to offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Coach Hart's an awesome dude. I've known him since my sophomore year of high school. He's a great dude, family guy. I love him. He gets everything out of you. He's one of the best. I think obviously he's the best receiver coach in the country. It shouldn't even be a question. Everything that he does, he cares about the players as a receivers coach, cares about technique, going about your business as a pro, I think is huge. And it's a good bit of what he preaches, along with the mentality side of it, how to go about it, understanding the game, understanding techniques, leverages, a bunch of whole different things that, he goes into in the receiver room is awesome. And, I think so far he's doing a great job as a play caller. He's grown a lot in the last 2 years. He's a confident guy, which, you always want in an offensive coordinator. And I think he'll be ready to roll come August.
Amen.
Absolutely. My last question to you is over here, Dev and myself actually believe you guys stay healthy. You guys could go run it back to back. Would you say that we are just being fanboys, or do you think like you guys could legit run it back to back if you guys stay healthy and keep executing and grinding how you've been grinding?
No, I mean, we can for sure. The quarterback play, no matter who starts, Lincoln or Julian, is going to be unbelievable. The O-line, I would say, is probably the best we've had in years. Everybody on the O-line is absolute maulers and gets after it. The running backs are great, whether it be in protection or running the ball. The receivers speaks for itself. I mean, Carnell, JJ, Brandon, Bryson, whoever you want to throw out there, it's going to be awesome. And then you move to the defensive side of the ball, and we just have straight dogs over there. Whether you go in the secondary with Jermaine and IGB and Lorenzo and a bunch of those guys back there, and Caleb, obviously, and whoever's going to start at safety, whether it be Malik or Jalen. And then, the linebackers are filthy. Peyton Pierce, Arvell, and Sonny are just going to be disgusting together. And then the D-line is going to prove itself. I think a lot of the people, at least from what I've seen on Twitter, aren't really messing with the D line right now. I think we should have paid whoever. Like, we're going to go get it and get after it. And I have full faith in those guys to, put the product on the field. I think they're ready, and I think they're ready for the challenge too. And Coach Patricia is going to dial some stuff up. So I think people aren't really ready for what Coach P's got in store.
Dad, we got a fist bump virtual because we've been saying this about the D line. Yeah, there you go.
You're going the wrong way.
No, you're supposed to use your right hand. And then you're supposed to go this way, and I go this way. But anyway, we've been saying the D-line is going to be very good this year. A lot of people are sleeping on it and freaking out. But we told them to chill out. They're getting on LJ's case out here in Buckeye Nation like crazy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean,
we've realizing recruiting has completely changed with NIL. So,
yeah, we're going to get after it. I don't have any doubt about that in my mind. And Coach Jay's an unbelievable coach. And the proof is in the pudding with Coach Jay. I mean, he's done it for however many years he's been in the game. So,
right.
I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised, and I think ready to eat their words come whatever we play, August 30th or 31st, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, dude, it's been an honor getting to know you a little bit, man. Excited for the future. Appreciate you sharing, all your experiences with us, man. And it's amazing. Hopefully we can get you back on here sometime, dude. Love it. I know the fans love it. They're enjoying everything you got to say and your answers. So appreciate your time, brother. You stay safe, man. You have a good evening, and we're looking forward to what the Buckeyes got in the future for us, man.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on and, asking a whole bunch of good questions. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. OH.
IO. All right. See you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Well, I mean, again, I think I might as well just stop asking the culture brotherhood question, because it's just like a known thing, right? When that's what recruits bring up, we don't even ask it. They bring that up and say it just feels different when we walk in the Woody for recruiting visits, and you hear players like, that's a walk-on wide receiver right there, right? So he's in a little bit different position, right, than some of these other players. And listen to still how he's talking about this program, right? There's so many things. Didn't want to take up too much of his time, but obviously, dude, we could have sat here for
really.
I mean, I probably could have sat here for 8 hours asking him questions, man. You can tell, super mature young man. Sometimes I forget that I'm talking to teenagers.
Right.
I honestly do. Like, I'm sitting here 34 years old, and it's just like sometimes I feel like I'm talking to another 34-year-old. You know what I mean? So that's the culture right there, man. I mean, and that's what it is. Nolan's the perfect example of that, man. Walk-on wide receiver for the Buckeyes. Any final thoughts there, Mello? We'll run into we'll talk about a few updates.
No, I agree with you 100%, but this attests to why we don't have some of the cultural issues that UGA is having. They have kids that haven't even gone to campus that are getting violent driving pullovers and arrests right now. They had a starting offensive lineman that just got arrested. They got a transfer portal kid that had a domestic. They still took him in the portal, and now he has to go to a court for domestic. Like, what people don't understand, they're like, UGA is the standard. UGA is not the standard anymore. You start having all these issues. The culture there is flawed. You're going to see, I'm telling you, it might take a few years, but you're going to see that program going on a downward spiral, because negativity spreads faster than positivity, and it's a cancer. You have one cancer and it starts spreading and spreading. If you don't cut that cancer out and you bring that cancer back into your program, it's going to affect the younger players that you're recruiting, and then you're going to start getting recruits that are getting arrested while they're still in high school. So that's all I wanted to say. We don't have those issues here. I love our culture, and applaud to Coach Day and what he's doing.
I'll say this: I met Chase. I hung out with Chase, the UGA commit. He committed at the OT7 event, plays for SFE. So, from my experience with him, good, respectful young man, kid, right? Kids make mistakes, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
I like that you put that out there, because that's a tidbit of information I didn't have. But I'm just saying, it's like a habitual pattern there. You know?
I get
going for like 4 or 5 years.
The point, I get the point you're trying to make, and the culture at Ohio State is elite, and it is different. Before we came on here, man, we asked Nolan several questions off air, and we do that all the time. It just, it gets different on air. We don't like asking certain questions. So, I mean, but one of the ones I will share, is that aspect of it, like the culture thing. Is it real? And to hear him expand on it, like off screen and stuff, you can just tell that it's real, because I'm like,
Yeah.
hey man, off air, no strings attached. Dude, what's the culture like there, man? Because I heard it being talked about at OT7. So again, it's starting to catch steam now. People are starting to buy into it and believe it a little more. But it's true, man. Culture over currency, all that stuff, it's real at Ohio State. But we'll move on, man. We got some updates, man, and we're going to do another show on this, but I'll share my thoughts on it real quick. Elite Sport King, thoughts on the new executive order today. So Trump signed an executive order. This is not a political show, so I'm not I could care less whatever way you are there. But he signed an executive order pretty much denying any third-party nil deals, the pay for play, all that stuff, right? Pretty much backing up the House settlement, okay? And what we have Ohio State following the rules. The rules were no collectives or nil agencies can be used, only real businesses. Well, that recently got changed, right? The House attorneys got the CSC, that got changed. And now nil and the collectives are considered businesses, but those deals still have to be cleared through the clearinghouse. Well, we heard Ross Burek respond to that and saying, hey, this is why we created Buckeye Sports Group. They can operate as nil does, as collectives do, right? Now, what this bill is geared towards isn't so much like collectives and stuff like that. It's towards the pay for play, right? And there's still that gray zone there of, okay, well, where's that limit at? Okay, so this executive order, it backs up everything the House settlement was trying to fight for, and that the CSC just gave into a little bit to. This executive order doesn't do much because there's still no legislation, right, to back it up. There's still no laws. But what this does do in my eyes, and there's still a lot of gray areas. And before I continue, Will Stars, awesome, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on both channels, Buckeye Boyz and Buckeye Scoop. We appreciate you guys. But what this does do is there is a bipartisan bill trying to be passed in Congress that simply back this up, right? It's called the Sports Act, I believe. Yeah, it is. And essentially what it does is it backs up what the House settlement does. It kind of gets into the antitrust stuff, because right now, this executive order, when it goes to court, don't think it's going to go anywhere because it goes against like antitrust and different things like that. But what this does show is the fact, right, that people are realizing something needs to be done, right? Something needs to be done with college football, because you have a group of people that agree, they'll shout, we need rules, guardrails, all that. And then they put guardrails in place, but you still got those one or two outliers of desperate teams, USC, scum, all those other teams that want to, neglect the rules and pay players because that's the only way they can get players to come there. So long story short, I don't think this changes much yet. And I don't think the decision before this to make nil collectives be real businesses, I don't think that's going to change that much with Ohio State's recruiting. But this is a step in the right direction. It shows that, hey, I think the only solution, whether you like it or not, is for laws have to be changed, or there can't be any guardrails put on it. So whether you agree with it or not, that's what I'm not here to debate that with you. I'm just here to give you an update in that this executive order, not going to be backed up in the courtroom too much, I don't think, but it does show the willingness to make something happen. And what needs to happen, or what people are saying needs to happen, is that, this Sports Act bill needs to pass. So there's legislation, so there's laws that are backing up the House settlement, because right now there's not. There's that antitrust that a lot of, the NCAA, the CSC, they can't deal with it. There's no way around it, right? It's got them in some deep waters before. So
let me ask you this. So basically what you're saying is the executive order is being signed to be the catalyst to the SCORE Act to pass through legislation to get rid of antitrust that applies to college athletes. So that way we could apply guardrails to not have a third party. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a pretty good wrap up. Now, those are my thoughts. Let me be clear. You're probably going to watch another show that has different thoughts. And that's the thing right now. I spoke a lot with Nevada Buck. We all know him, an absolute genius when it comes to, stuff regarding this. So I had a long talk with him, bounced some ideas off of him and stuff. And, he simply said that, man, there's a lot of people out there with questions. Nobody really knows. So if you listen to somebody that sit here and says, hey, this is what I know, or whatever, they don't. There's still a lot of unanswered questions here. But we do know this. Ross Bjork and Ohio State are playing the safest that they can possibly play. They're following the rules to a T. Why? Because they know they need to be in place for the good of college football. And Ross Bjork was part of the committee that set this up, that set the CSC up, right? But they're not done yet, man. They haven't even put out the rules yet. They haven't put out the punishments yet. The attorneys can't agree on what these rules and regulations are going to be, so they're still not out there. So teams don't even know, hey, if we do this, this is going to happen. They don't know. That's not been decided yet. So something has to be done. If the SCORE Act does not happen, then this House settlement and the CSC and all this stuff, it just ain't going to fly, in my opinion. It ain't going to happen. So without that happening, it's going to continue to be the Wild Wild West. Now, that's my opinion, right? And stuff could change. But long story short, Ohio State's going to have some momentum now because nils are businesses. But this executive order has now come out. And they're going to be in between a rock and a hard place of deciding now what do they want to do. But we do know that Ross Bjork is real big on following these rules to a T for the future of college football. So that's what's going on. And I still have faith that Ohio State's in the right place. I do. I really, really do. I know that's not the popular opinion, but I think they know something we don't know. I'm telling you.
Let's be honest. The White House is really scarlet and gray. We have the VP in the office. So if you think that they don't talk to Vice President Vance, then I'm pretty sure they do. So, they probably have more insight on this than anybody else, any other program.
Yeah.
So I would go ahead and just trust Ohio State and what they're doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, that's it, man. I loved talking to Nolan. I love talking to him about, this upcoming, team and whatnot and the things that are going around. You get clarification for things we've already heard. We know Austin Seerveld won Iron Buckeye, right? And let me tell you something. Nolan takes very highly of that individual right there. Okay. Like first round draft pick type of player. So I don't think that's quite caught on yet. The type of player that Austin Seerveld is, I know we're excited about him, but I don't think we're excited enough about him. And you heard him talk about the D-line himself. I'm just not over here tripping about it. But I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going on is, first off, Will Smith Jr. stepping up in a big way. Probably had the biggest offseason of any defensive tackle in the room, just to let you guys be aware. But then you got Bo Axton and Kenyatta Jackson that are being prepared to go inside when need be. Being prepared as in they're putting on weight, right? Bo has experience doing that, and quite frankly, so does Kenyatta. I brought up the fact that what the Rushman package looked like last year.
Kenyatta was at the 3-tech.
Yeah.
Because you remember me, you, and Brad were talking about it on here.
I did not like it.
Flip it. Yeah, they should flip it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
but that's what it is, man. So a lot of good things
if you think about it. This is why you shouldn't question the coaches, to be honest with you, because maybe they saw next year we might have to use them there a little bit in certain packages and stuff, right? So we're gonna get him prepared to do that now, so he knows and he can feel it. So in the off season, when we're pushing him hard, he knows it's legit. But also someone that Coach Day spoke highly of was Tywan Malone during media day. What people we've been saying we're gonna step up. So, like we said, I believe the whole depth and D tackle position has been blown out of proportion because it's real simple. Like a lot of people that are content creators, which we need this program in order to have content to speak about, negativity spreads faster than positivity, which means you get more clicks, more views, and they might actually believe what they're saying. But I mean, we're going to tell you honestly what we think, and we have some inside sources in the team. That's why you didn't see us really freaking out, to be honest with you. We've known for a while the D line was going to be fine, especially once they got Bo Atkinson.
Yeah, the truth of it is, which title is going to get more views? Breaking, new coach hired, breaking, current coach fired. I promise you it's the fired that's going to get more views. So, yeah, the negativity thing, the difference there is that, and we try to be, so our recruiting standpoint is that we feel that the recruiting industry is doing a very bad job at handling these recruits. In that, I mean, for instance, there is talk on a certain Con 3 recruiting board about Caden Dixon Wyatt possibly being a flip candidate, and they are still listing schools. Well, let me tell you something. Here's the truth. Here's what that does, right? I know Caden. I know Caden's mom. Great people. He does not want to be in the spotlight. Very humble young man. What does that make it look like if a young man announces his commitment, gives his word that he's going to a school, then shuts his recruitment down, and then the site puts out that he's a flip candidate, right? People are automatically going to put this stigma on that young man, right? Who's trying to form a legacy. He's trying to, build something for himself. And now you got this site putting something out saying, oh, well, maybe he's not a man of his word. Well, maybe he will go for the biggest bag. Well, maybe this, right? So the same thing kind of goes on here, right? There's been an idea planted, right, that Ohio State's in big trouble on the defensive line, that we're really lacking for defensive tackle, right? There was that idea planted, and it just took fire. And therefore, everything that came out of Ryan Day's mouth about the defensive line got taken in that, because that idea was planted first. Hey, man, because let me just remind you that the first freak out was about defensive end. That was the first freak out. And then it switched to defensive tackle, right? And now we're stuck on defensive tackle. So, but the truth is, man, is that, I think, or I know we're way better off than some of these ideas, that are being put out there. Oh, crap, I forgot that it's 8:01, huh?
Yeah, so, they go at 8:10. We got a couple of minutes.
We do, we allow recruits to speak for themselves so you guys can get to know recruits. We bring former players on here so you can hear about the team yourself, so you can hear about the defensive line from an actual player that's with them. We've had multiple ones on here. We've had defensive linemen on this show that are in that D-line room right now. We've had
parents.
We just had parents on here that they know, and they're telling you, hey, we're good on defensive line, but yet these shows and these articles and everything are putting out something different. Which one are you going to believe? I'm just going to choose to believe what I hear from the people.
And not for that, this is my last comment, and you can end how you want to. But Coach Day flat out said, I don't know if you guys watched his media day. He flat out said, we didn't get anybody out of the portal because there wasn't anything in the portal better than what was already on our defensive line room, which means Texas, I watched their program. They're bragging about this kid from Syracuse. He wouldn't even get on the field at Ohio State. That's why they didn't waste their time chasing him. So, think about that. Just think about that. Coach Day said they're not good enough to play on our team. He flat out said that. Do you think Coach Day is a liar? Yeah,
I know. So, man, a lot of exciting things going on next week. Got some more exciting interviews for you. Let me tell you something. We got Caden Dixon Wyatt's mom coming on next Thursday. Good ways away, but it's going to be a really good show. You guys are going to love her. I'm predicting she becomes the #1 mom in the 2026 class. You got D. Sanchez for the 25 class. Caden's mom is a personality. She's amazing to talk to. So it's going to be a very fun show.
We got to ask her about that Con 3 article too then.
I just got off the phone with her. She'll tell you what she thinks about that. She'll let you know.
Shout
what's
out to
on her
Con
mind.
3. Nobody likes
Yeah,
you guys.
she ain't gonna hold nothing back there. But yeah, man, we try to bring you guys information directly from the sources. If we are shared information we can share with y'all, we will most definitely do that. I know how it is, and you know what it's like to have that feeling of to be in the know about something. So we share what we can with you guys. We appreciate all your support, man. Seriously, without you guys, there wouldn't be a show. We do this because we love to do it. We ain't trying to be in a spotlight. We ain't trying to make a bunch of money, man. We're just having fun, spreading positivity, spreading the love of Jesus. That's what this channel is all about. You know, we get to do that and talk about the Buckeyes at the same time, and meet people like Nolan, who I'm just thrilled as ever to do. Like, I love it. If you play for the Buckeyes, I don't care if you're JJ Smith or the lowest ranked person on that team. If you play for the Buckeyes, you're a star in my eyes, and I want to interview you, man. That's a pretty big thing to have on your resume. But Mello, any final thoughts, dude, before we get out of here?
Man, shout out to Nolan for coming on to the Buckeye Boyz, man. We appreciate that. We appreciate you guys viewing and tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're going to keep bringing more players on, more parents. Just be careful what you're watching, what you're reading. You can watch it for entertainment, but just remember it's entertainment. A lot of these people talking do not know anybody on the team and the program. They don't talk to the recruits. They don't know anything. So, like, just keep that in mind and ask them questions. You can always dig and find out if they really know. If they say someone is a friend of their show, but you've never seen them on the show, chances are they're not a friend of their show. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys for watching. Is tomorrow Friday?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. So don't think we're doing a show tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm not doing a show. I know I said this last night, but I'm really not.
Yeah,
doing a show
you're not
tomorrow,
doing a show.
so.
I don't know if Pops Pod is or not.
Yeah, don't know about that yet, but yeah. All right, y'all. Hey, we appreciate the heck out of you guys for watching, man. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But on that note, we love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I-O.